if both of them shared their life story or their journey, their views on sedition. And there's many different ways this could play out. And just talking to them, like Mariam said, can we speak seditiously? And PJ says, yes, this is Oxford, by all means. But I was saying that the implications would be different. Mariam stays in London. Zunar has to go back to Malaysia. But then said, you're already in trouble. What more could happen? So I'm very pleased that Mariam has agreed. She has agreed, yeah. And both Mariam and Zunar will spend, we have 2 hours, 1:30 to 3:30, to engage with them on what they think is sedition, their experience with sedition. And Mariam will first say a few words. It will be like a panel session. Mariam will say a few words of her experience, followed by Zunar, and we can then have a discussion. We'll have like a nice open discussion. I know there's some people here who follow sedition quite closely, both as a research topic and
you make it sound like a rock band.
Yeah. So can I invite the general, Mariam Mokhtar, to start off the session. Admiral General. Thank you very much, Mariam.
Right. I'm not supposed to be here, but these two, and I have a lawyer here to represent me, just in case things go wrong. And the bill will be sent to Oxford University, I suppose. But yeah, I will talk about sedition. Basically, you're not allowed to speak your mind in Malaysia. And you're not allowed to draw anything either. So, and if you disagree with the powers that be, you've had it. At least in Malaysia, you get charged for sedition. In Singapore, you get sued for defamation, I believe. Is that right? Okay. It all started for me, because I think, Greg, you said you wanted a bit of a life history. It started when, it started with the Penang ladies. Do you remember them? The Penang girls who were raped in Sarawak. And nobody seemed to care for them. And that's how I got myself involved in this. And then from there it spread on with religious things and just normal things. Oh, that was 2008, 2009. And of course, the recent thing is, I come from Perak. I don't know whether you know where it is. It's a mining area, but we have a mufti there who keeps talking about stuff which I disagree with. For instance, today I think he said, God says that you can't get rid of tyrants. Why? How? Then the other week, the deputy mufti said, you've got men, Malay men, Muslim men, have got to control their women. Otherwise, you can't go to heaven. So for those who are a bit more ignorant or probably do not know their language too well, then the thing is, we don't want women to get beaten up just because their husbands want to go to heaven, fast track to heaven. So I write all these things down. And I think any normal person would write these things down, but no, I will probably get charged with sedition. I've already got a whole string of sedition charges. In 2013, I wrote about Chin Peng, who died. And his ashes weren't allowed into the country, into Malaysia, to be put in his ancestral grave. And yet, a Malay girl in London, who was part of a Maoist commune, she was going to be given the red carpet treatment when she returned home. And they said that she had denounced communism and all that, she hadn't. And I was just making a comparison of the two treatments. And suddenly, the chief of police threatened me with sedition. I think that's wrong. I just made a simple comparison, that was all. So yeah, basically Zunar and I, he draws, I write, and that's wrong in Malaysia. And we found out, we discovered by accident that he's a chemist and so am I. We were trained as chemists and we've forgotten all about chemistry, but we're now talking our mind, drawing our minds. And in Malaysia, that is wrong. But we keep in close touch because we are on the same wavelength. And it must be a headache for the IGP and the government of Malaysia, but what can we do? That's all I have to say about it.
We'll ask Zunar to make his presentation, and then we'll have a question and answer and discussion.
This is a cartoon about corruption in Malaysia. Previously, the practical was on the table. Later on, developed to above table. And now, including the table. This is how serious the corruption in Malaysia. You know how many of you from Malaysia? Oh, you're from Malaysia too. Okay, looks like majority from Malaysia too. And I believe that those who are not from Malaysia also well aware what happened and how much the corruption in Malaysia now. The Prime Minister reported to have received more than 1 billion USD as a donation. But this is to show how how serious the corruption in Malaysia. So that is why I have two purposes. I mean, when I draw, my subjects only focus on two. First, to expose corruption in Malaysia, and second, injustice. I don't really go on other subject because this is a very big issue in Malaysia, and very few people or media talk about this. So we go next. Okay, this is the corruption. And then, you know, when you take the word, forward, and they become donation already. It's a very simple thing. The corruption, you take the CORR and then become donations. People ask me, I draw cartoon every day. Even when I'm here. Last night I did one cartoon. No, because in Malaysia it's a cartoon country. You know, we have a cartoon government. A government of the cartoon, by the cartoon, for the cartoon. That's why every day we have to come up with cartoon. And people ask, when I was in Istanbul prior to last week, and people ask, how come you get an idea to draw cartoons every day? For me, I need to thank one person, which is the one who inspired me to draw, and the one who really, the person who gave me strength to keep going. She is the wife of the Prime Minister of Malaysia. Because for me, she is very, very cartoonable. What I need to do, we live in Malaysia, cartoonist will be, I think she is a godsend to me. I know to draw cartoons. You know what I need to do is I just watch TV, and whenever she speaks, then I can draw. Sometimes I will draw the video. What is she going to say? Then say something, then it's already. But now she's quiet for 1 month, so I become worried, you know, I got no idea how I do it. Sometimes I pray, you know, please God, make her do something or say something, you know, I'm desperate of idea. So she is the one who gives an idea. And where we had? this is okay. This is from the movie, the Steel Wars, the Fat Awakens. You know that people know like Malaysia. This is I'm talking about. You see, in my cartoon recently, if you anybody follow my cartoon, you can see that there are so many small characters now. And one of the important characters is this person. Here, sometimes he is the person who will holding a phone and keep tweeting. You already know who is the person. And this because of this is Steel War movie, he become a daft tweet. This character appears last year, since February last year, when I was arrested last year, because he gave an instruction to his men to arrest me via Twitter posting. So since then, I promise to make sure he will be in my cartoon every day. Yeah, you can see, they will be there. And of course, she will be there, she also there. And sometimes she's not around, the ring will be there. Then she's around. You can see that my cartoon will be there. So this is how my cartoons look like. Okay, can you see next? This is the multi-level corruption in Malaysia. It's a new scheme. You know, get this scheme, it's multi-level corruption. Of course, it started from the wife, and then Prime Minister. So and then this is the government officer, and this is the minister, and this is government officer. Because it's multi-level, this is very, very difficult for, you know, for people to, that's why it's become very deep, because it's multi-level. And you ask, if you go to government officer, you know every government officer in Malaysia, you can ask them. Recently they are sport ministry officer, caught with 100 million. 100 million, nothing already in Malaysia now. It's petty cash for them. It is very petty cash. We have to take over billion now corruption, you know. But it's okay. Why you take this 100 million? They say, oh, we only take 100 million. The minister take 250 million. And you ask the minister say, oh, we only take 250 million. The prime minister take 2.6 billion. When you ask the prime minister, he said that my wife take more, but I don't have figures. You know, we have no figures too big. So I take more. So this corruption from top to bottom. Okay, next. These are the issues when our nation government use laws. Peaceful Assembly Act, Printing and Presses Act, Sedition Act, Multimedia, whatever act, you know, that's why they are using now to save. The more the government become weak, the more the Prime Minister become weak, the more law they will create. And it will going to be more. I believe. Yeah. Okay, next. Okay, this is the system in Malaysia. We have Minister of Justice. We have Palace of Justice, very beautiful. There is justice in a court building. And we have Chief Justice. But what we don't have is justice. We have everything, you know. You see the ring here? And this is justice, is just fit, you know. We will follow all this. Okay, next. Okay, this is because of the Sedition Act. Finally, the result is penjara is jail, you know. Putrajaya is the office, the government office. So finally, the result, those who been in jail is the activists, bloggers, NGO, lecturers, lawyers, students, cartoonists. But those who in power is there are some rapists in power, you know, corruptors, murderers, chinchiners. Okay, next. Okay, this is from the movie, The Exorcism of Emily Rosma. So of course this is tweet is dead. It's not a period because it's 22nd of July 2010. Next. Okay, this is the problem we are facing in Malaysia now. Tuan Mahathir, he got brain, but he got no heart. Abdullah Badawi. He got no brain, but he got heart. Najib, no brain, no heart. The current Prime Minister. Okay, next. This is Anwar issues. You know very well about Anwar issue, how they control the judiciary. And I also facing a problem because I comment about this issue. Okay. Right. Now, because I draw this cartoon, you know why they said I use this cartoon all for to expose corruption and injustices, like you see. And for me, it is very, very important for an artist, for Malaysian, for anybody in the world to have a stand. This is very, very, very important. Some people think that, yeah, I've been asked this question. The capitalist, you as an artist, you shouldn't be biased. You have to be a spectator. You have to be neutral. I really don't agree about this. I don't really agree. You know, this concept is escapism. Neutralism is escapism. You don't want to fight, you say, I'm neutral. I give you an example of how important the stand is. You know, okay, let's say I'm standing at the bus stop. You know, beside me a lady with a bag, Birkin bag or whatever, doesn't matter, you know. Right? But then come a snatcher with a motorbike. Snatcher. Normally, one with motorbike normally put around no right. It's normal in Malaysia. And snatch the bag in front of you. Should I be neutral? No, I'm not this side. I'm not this side. What does that mean by that? You neutral means you give the power to that snatcher to go and snatch more. Because people are neutral. Same as in politics. If you neutral means you will give more power to current regime to be in power for another 60 years. You say you are neutral, actually you're helping the group. So that is why for me, when I draw, yeah, I have a cup like this, you know. Sorry, it's my level. I have a glass like this. You know, when I draw, now I'm drinking. I will put here the pen, you know, before and after drawing. So we call this pen stand. That is why my philosophy of drawing is, how can I be neutral? Even my pen has a stand. You know, so even my pen has a stand. So we shouldn't be neutral. And what we have next, sometimes I cannot remember all the things. Okay, go back. Okay, that is so. And as a result, now I have the government ban. No, when I'm not allowed to be, my cartoon are not allowed to be published in any newspaper in Malaysia because they are all controlled by the government. So I have to rely on internet and Facebook, Twitter. And once in a while I came out with a book like this. This is my latest book. Sapu Man. Man of Steel.
Nice.
So this, as you can see the Twitter here. So, but the government, no, I have 18 titles. The government banned 7 of my books under Printing and Presses Act. On the ground that, according to the government, the content of my books are detrimental to public order and can influence the people to revolt against the government. So in Malaysia, you don't need to read Karl Marx book to do a revolution. And it was under that, and then the rest was investigated under the Sedition Act. What is the difference between these two? Ban is considered okay. It's good to be banned. It's not good to be investigated under the Sedition Act. The difference of two laws is like this. Sedition Act, Printing and Presses Act. If you have the book that, you know, for those who produce, who print, distribute, sell or own it, the penalty for that fine 5,000 ringgit. It's about 1,000 pounds. But for those under Sedition Act, the penalty for that is 3 years maximum jail term. No? And they banned the book, and also they raided my office several times in Kuala Lumpur by the authority. Last time, when I was in London, few months ago, last year, for speaking truth, in Kuala Lumpur, the police came and raided my office, my empty office, and took more than 200 books. When I was returned, I asked the police, why you take my book? He said, this is for investigation. I said, why 200? It's the same title. One title only, why you take 3, 4, can give us, why you want to read all 200? But this is a form of intimidation, if you look at for that. And the printer, 3 of my printers have been raided, and they were given a very strong warning that if they print my book in the future, the whole business license will be revoked. So now nobody wants to print my book in Malaysia. Because according to law, you need the names of the printer here. Printer president. Next. Okay, now, okay, you see, you need to put, Now what I have to do is I have to blacken the name of the printers. Printers are black. And I put the note here, if the police want to know who the printer is, they need to enter scratch and win the contact. Then you find yourself. So this is what I do now. It's against the law, but yeah, you force me to do that. And then also the bookstores around Malaysia also been raided, and they give us the same warning. And as a result, nobody wants to sell my book. Nobody dare to sell my book in any bookstore in Malaysia. And I had to depend on online sale. And last year, the police also investigate the person who managed the online sale and demanded him to release all the customers' names who purchased my book through online. And I also been beaten twice. I was just came back from in America, in Los Angeles. In America now, the popular word is Islamophobia. In Malaysia, cartoonophobia. That's why I was detained in the first time in 2010 September. After they banned my book, I produced a new book called Cartoonophobia, and I was detained and brought to 7 police lockup, police station at the same night. And after that, they detained me at near the airport, KLIA. I was released 2 days ago. Because why? Because when they detained me, then the next day the police had to bring me to the court to get a remand order. That's according to law. So when they detained me, I just got the book from the author. Just few hours. We are going to launch it the same night. But 4 o'clock, when I was in the office preparing for my text, 10 of them came and guided the back door as if I want to run away, escape. Okay, well, they arrest me, and then after that, next day at the court, it was a Saturday, it's half-day court, and my lawyer unable to find the court because it's a very remote area. And 2010 we still don't have this. Finally, unable to come. The court said, hey, we are about to close now. I said, okay, let me represent myself. I said, since there are so many cartoons law in Malaysia, why don't cartoonists become lawyer? I said, okay. So the police said that we detained this man because he produced this book and a seditious material. This is very seditious, and the penalty for that for 3 years, blah, 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 blah. And then the judge said, what are you going to say? I told the judge, how do they know the book is seditious or not? The book, I just arrived, we haven't, nobody read the book yet. No, nobody, I just arrived, just got the book, and we haven't distributed it yet. how the police know this is seditious or not? And then when the magistrate, the judge asked the police, have you read the book? They said no. How do you have a vision that is going to be seditious? That's why the court ordered me to be released. That's the first one. Yeah. Then last year I was detained again for 3 days, and after that the police, I was brought to the court, and I've been slapped with 9 charges under the Sedition Act, which carry a maximum penalty for 43 years jail terms. And yeah, 43 years. So according to the calculation made by some friends, I will be free when I'm 96 years old. There's a sad joke by my friend. Let me joke, right? You know, it's so sad, right? You know? In Malaysia, you make joke. It's a cartoon country, you know. You just make joke. And next. This is when I was detained there. This is where I was handcuffed for 8 hours, continuous hours. And during the time, my lawyer came, and I met my lawyer, and my wife was there, and the police is during when I spotted some moment where the police busy playing with Facebook. So I give a signal to take a photo. Then this one they come with this photo. You know? Okay, next. Okay, this is 9 charges. This is why I say make joke, right? What else? Okay, next. Okay, this is the. Okay, just continue back.
Okay.
Sorry. This is the last, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Why I want to do this all? Okay, for me, it is very easy. For me, I have a philosophy. Talent is not a gift, but a responsibility. Talent is not belong to me. I don't learn to be talented. No university in the world, including Oxford, can offer you talent course. No. You are born with talent. So it's not belong to me. It was borrowed to me. That is why for me, talent is a responsibility. It's not for me. So this is why I want to continue this. And that is why now I introduce a concept, cartoon for the people. It's not political cartoon. I'm not saying this is political cartoon. It's a cartoon for the people. In Malaysia, some people think that corruption is a political issue. That's very common. People say that, well, got nothing to do with me. We change politician, we charge him. I need to do my job as usual. So it's got nothing to do with me. I don't care about what they do. I just concentrate on what I'm doing. Through concept of cartoon for the people, I want people to understand that actually we are the one who pay for their corruption. You said got nothing to do with you? From our pocket, our own pocket. That's why I try to drag people in there to say that you must understand this. If you want to corrupt your own money, you go ahead. Don't don't use our money for corruption. And in Malaysia, it's worse. Sometimes they use our money to bribe us. You know, you think it's a government money? It's taxpayer money. They bribe us. So this is why I want to, through this cartoon, I want people to understand that very clear. And I also remove the copyright of all my cartoons now. This is free, copyright free. Anybody, if you want to take, just go ahead. My Facebook, my Twitter, just go. No need to ask permission from me. Because it's not belong to me, it's belong to the people. So some artists say that you need to get a permission from the artist first before you can share. But for me, no. Go ahead. Go ahead, share. It's not about to get money out of my talent, but to get the message spread. This is my objective now. And for me, sometimes I write, you know, on my posting that according to Zunar's cartoon acts, they can go act too, you know. This is an offense not to share this cartoon. So, okay, next, what you say the other one? Next. Okay, this is my philosophy. Now I have a story about me. I've been charged with 3 laws being used against me. First is printing and presses to ban my books, and then there are Sedition Act. There is Sedition Act to investigate and arrested me. And last year they also used one law, penal code. When I was brought to Bukit Aman, they said now you are being investigated under classified crime. I also don't understand what is classified crime, but I think maybe the crime with a class. You got some class. So GST, the girl said GST, they give 9 tuduhan. That means these 9 charges. And you see, this is when one of the investigation during the interrogation, I told the police, I told them, you can ban my books, you can ban my cartoon, but you cannot ban my mind. I told them, I will keep drawing until the last drop of my ink. So if you want to stop me, you have to stop ink supply coming to Malaysia, you know, from the airport or whatever. This is your job. And also, how can I be neutral? Even my pen has a stand. And why pinch when you can punch? So this is my philosophy. That is why you can see that I will go to the most powerful person in Malaysia. It's the wife of the Prime Minister. The husband is not. So I really, that's why I said earlier, I really thank her, because you know I cannot survive based on husband. You know, as a cartoonist, I cannot survive. So this is the philosophy of my cartoon as a cartoonist. And what we are doing now, you know, people keep asking whether why you still want to do this. You know, what I'm trying to do now is to cross the line of fear. Many people draw their own line of fear, and they trapped in it without knowing what is on the other side. We don't know. We don't know. Now, police, yeah. Now people say, if people say that, oh, now the police tap your phone, people already got scared. You know, somebody was scared. For me, no, it's okay, it's good. No, the police told me they tapped my phone. I said, that's good. Thank you very much. So I can, you know, go and swear to the police or say, stupid police or if they say that, you know, they are hearing. They are listening to us. That's how we really need to overcome the fear. This is how we do. And for Malaysian, how long we want to fight? That's the question is. Mariam been fighting since decade ago. Some maybe earlier. I'm earlier than that. But how long? How long more we want to do like this? I would like to tell that the struggle is like an endless marathon. Endless marathon. And the winner in endless marathon is keep yourself in track and move forward. You are doing that. Don't sidetrack, don't go out from the track. And now I understand that there are some people in Malaysia, we don't expect people to fight at the same level as us. I understand that very well. Some people say that, you know, I'm working with the government, I cannot do like you. But it's okay. Do whatever we can. Do whatever we can at our best capacity. If you are a writer, you write at Mariam, and you are a lawyer, you do your lawyer, you are a singer, you can sing. And even you are fisherman, you can write a message and you go, kind of thing. There is no small contribution. And I would like to ask a Malaysian, please tell other Malaysians that now come and join me in the very safest and effective way of protest. Laughter is the best one. We just, if you cannot beat them, you laugh at them. No regime in the world can stand, you know, no dictator, if you keep laughing at them. And don't laugh when they make joke. Laugh when they are serious. The Prime Minister said, I will make sure everybody will get justice. Ha ha ha. We just laugh. They cannot stand it. And they cannot do anything. There is no, unless in Malaysia they will introduce one day, anti-laughter law. In Malaysia, they can. No, in Malaysia again, everybody want to laugh, have to get a permit from the nearest police station, Then it can be in Malaysia, have to fill out the form where you want to laugh, Kuala Lumpur. How many people? About 400. Who are you going to laugh at? The opposition? What type of laughing? Ha ha ha. Maybe in Malaysia like that. But again, I want to end up with this, that for Malaysian, for those who really care about it. My intention to draw cartoon very simple. I want a total change in Malaysia. It's total change, not a slight change. It's a total reform. And everybody do their part, and we just imagine that everyone of us is just a drop of water in the ocean. And if you combine, we create tsunami. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Zunar. Thank you so much, Mariam. Very, very powerful, very profound thoughts, especially for academics. And I don't think only academics in Malaysia. I think wherever we are in Britain, in the US, a lot of the things Zunar has said is challenging how we behave. So we now have, we've got a good 1 hour for discussions. And maybe to facilitate, if Zunar and Mariam can sit in front. Comments, observations, an attempt at a joke. Go ahead. Who would like to go first? Yeah. Ruben? Yeah.
Well, thanks for that. Very, very.
Yeah. Oh, which table?
Just in front, yeah.
Oh, no table. A table I think is easier.
Oh, okay.
Is that it?
Don't mind? So, go ahead, Ruben.
Well, thanks so much for that. It was very, very provocative, and on the one hand, I think the context in Malaysia is depressing. On the other hand, it's good that we can laugh about it. So I actually have a question for you, Zunar. Your cartoons are really provocative, and they visually represent the use of law as a tool of oppression, repression in Malaysia. Now, if I were a lawyer, then I think the obvious objection I would make to these laws is that they're unconstitutional, because the Malaysian constitution has a fairly extensive Bill of Rights, and it has various other controls on government. So the argument would be that these laws like the Sedition Act and what have you are unconstitutional. So my question is, have you tried to visually represent the other side of the law, this other vision of the law, the Constitution, and what it represents as perhaps expressing an ideal of constitutional democracy? And what might that look like to you? I think that would be really interesting as a corrective to this, because this, if you just looked at this picture, you would see various pieces of legislation that are used to limit freedom. And you and I think we care about defending freedom. Your T-shirt says to defend rights. That a concept of a right is a legal concept. So how, I guess, have you drawn about the Constitution as a sort of corrective, the other side of the law, the side that people tend to forget, I think?
Let's go one by one since we have time. Zunar, do you want to?
Because I only have 2 hands. So what I mean is I'm not really focused on corruption and injustices. And I focus on the popular law now that we use every day, like Sedition Act, such kind of things. And the one I'm not experienced myself. So of course I understand that it's very important to touch on others too. But I don't have a capacity to do it now because I'm really focused on those smart. Focus there because we need to really focus on subject. But other people may other artists or other could do others. But for me, I want to really focus. why people will. I think that if we focus, then we can get the target very clear.
Yes, you mentioned about total change. I am originally from Burma. I teach in Malaysia. I'm professor of law in Multimedia University in Malaysia. So you mentioned about total change. I was wondering what you actually meant by that when the Barisan National Government is no more, and then if the opposition comes to power, from what they say, it will split in 3 months. You may want to comment on that or not. But what is the form of total change it means? Because as far as I know, Malaysia is a semi-democracy, if I have to use term. And it is the longest, probably one of the longest coalition government for 58 years. Even Myanmar has changed. Of course, North Korea is another ballgame. So what is the sort of total change you envisage?
Maybe both Zunar and Mariam can help.
Let me,
Yeah.
okay. What damage that the 60 years old government had done is they destroy the institution. I don't care who take over from Barisan Nasional. I mean, now we have choice, Barisan or Pakatan. We have two. You know, of course, for me, Barisan has to go. Barisan Nasional has to go at all costs. There's no question about it. And people ask, will the opposition can guarantee change? Can guarantee? I don't care about it. As long as the end go first. And what is important to do is to strengthen the institution. You know, system in Malaysia now is all based on 1 or 2% call. Normally 1%, but in Malaysia 2 because of the wife is also involved. You know, it's all central to that. You see, we have a judiciary system, but it's not independent. We know that. It's because of, according to the script by the Prime Minister. And we have a police chief, the police institution. It's not independent too. The police has to depend on the, you know that police in Malaysia. And the AG also like that. You want to charge anybody, you have to refer to the Prime Minister first. If Prime Minister says go with it, then you go ahead. And other things, education system also gone in Malaysia now. So it's all been politicized. That is why we need to do what Habibie did in Indonesia when he took over from Suharto. Suharto ruled for 30 years. 21. Okay, numbers doesn't matter. But what Habibie did is he strengthened the institution. Among he did, for the first step is, he said that we want to fight corruption. And in order to do that, the government will free media now. So media can report. What are they enjoying in Indonesia now? Doesn't matter who, the institution is not controlled by one person. In America, the president has to go to court. Bill Clinton has to go to court and say my lord to the judge. In Malaysia, the prime minister said, I don't want to go to court. Or if I want to go, I want to see the question first. No, that's what I said. That's when this is I'm talking about. So when the institution is strong, very, very strong, and have a very good foundation, then it's going to be autopilot. Anybody cannot, in the future government, cannot ban newspaper, let's say. Like in UK, can the Prime Minister ban newspaper or not? Cannot. The court has to do it. The institution has to do it, not the person. Either you agree or not, you are not happy, the court will decide. And the court will never listen to the Prime Minister. I hope so. I know it look like that.
So institutional change. Mariam, strengthening the institutions.
Yes.
Mariam, what the total, do you agree with total change?
Definitely total change, because look at it, we're bleeding, aren't we, in Malaysia? If you look at what Zunar saying, the judiciary, the police, we don't have a watchdog. We have so many deaths in custody, and it's all unchecked. We have affirmative action policies, and some parts of the community benefit, others don't. And the number of people who've had their future blighted, families have been wrecked when they had to move overseas to get their opportunities. And we have lack of transparency, accountability. Okay, this Panama Papers, 4 billion, I think, at least, yeah, taken. bat an eyelid, do we? Over here, a minister takes 30p from a Tesco plug, I think it was, in the expenses scandal, and there was an uproar. In Malaysia, nothing. We are afraid. It's a culture of fear and loathing. And when will it stop? Our children, our grandchildren, what sort of future are we giving them? So yes, it's everything changed. Gerrymandering, election commission. I think they had this indelible ink, and it just disappeared after a few washes. The Air Force captain who made a complaint, he was court-martialed. That is wrong. It wouldn't happen here. Why should it happen in Malaysia? All our wealth is gone into a few people's pockets. That is wrong.
Thank you very much.
Greg.
Yeah.
I'm not making a point, I'm just interested to know the demographic of your readership, and are you reaching people who matter? BN has a stranglehold on the Kampung Book. The corollary to my point is, do you write it in, do you do your cartoons in Bahasa as well?
No, I use less word. More visual.
Okay, but there is a Bahasa version.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering if anyone's monitoring how social media is allowing access to the Kampung Book. I think ultimately to change hearts and minds, it has to be not top down, but from the grassroots, so to speak. I don't know if you think that's the case. Are you just preaching to the choir?
Yeah. The fact that they banned my book, I mentioned earlier about making mental to public opinion. According to those who sat in the meeting, in the committee, which happened to be my relative, my wife's relative, but he told it, just recently in the Hari Raya gathering, and he told it the real reason why they banned my book is because they worry about it may change the teenagers' perspective of Malaysia. So
I mean, the picture paints to 12,000 words. So
yeah. So let's again, we unable to reach. It is very difficult for me to reach people in rural area. We do have machinery for that. But again, I believe that in Malaysia, Facebook and Twitter are not social media. They are alternative media. People use it, to not to share about cats or what, not to share about what, all the information. And it, of course, I know it's a very, very difficult for us to penetrate, but this is all youngsters, generation Y, we call it now. They are all very internet savvy. In Malaysia, not all everybody, except Mariam, still use the whole phone, this phone, the phone is like this, with a line color, except her, other people, all very internet savvy, so they have this. But I think they also can influence their parents in rural area. You won't be surprised that when you go back to kampung, to the village, you will say, hey, is it right, internet say like this? They don't have internet, So it's I think that is the best I can do as a cartoon. But
actually, come to think of it, photos of pictures in JPEGs are more easily shared than text. So I guess
that's why that I'm using that. That's why I'm using the visual now. That's why I told earlier that I removed the corruption. So the corruption. I removed the copyright. Then more and more people can go and share and get the message. This is my intention.
But I'd like to actually stretch the question. Use my chair. We write in most of the critiques are written in English. Are we preaching to the? And this is also for academics. Are we only preaching to the convert?
Yes and no.
Happy to hear views.
Yes and no.
Starting with
Does anybody do demographics here? Social demographics of Malaysia? It used to be in the Merdeka time, we had 70 to 80% rural people. I believe now it is only 30%. Most of them have migrated to the cities. And I did a very unscientific survey, and a lot of the urbanites, they have the alternative media, but they don't access it. They don't. So if I write in Malay, they're not even going to look at it. There are some publications I write where it is in Malay, but with the Malays, I think there are other issues that are more important to them. I don't know what they are. If we had the magic answer, we would probably cure all the problems, or most of the problems in Malaysia.
Can I have one or two views from the audience on whether it's the right thing to do, writing in English in Malaysia? Would anyone like to comment on that?
I think the problem is sometimes, I mean, it's a general, it's a personal perspective. I think the problem is the reading habits among Malaysians is really going down. And I'm a PhD student myself in Uni Auckland, New Zealand. And among my peers, or the bunch of Malaysian students there who likes to berkampung or form their own village kind of thing, you don't see them writing. And that's often their problem. And I ask them, how can you do a PhD when you're not writing? The whole thing, you become an academic, you write more than anyone else. And so that's why writings don't work anymore. And that's why probably Zunar's cartoons, or even tracking back when CK used to do Key's World, when he just covered the general issues of throwing rubbish and making noise in the public, that reached out to people more than a journal paper.
Interesting. Okay, thank you so much. So next, and then follow the mic.
Hi, Zunar. Just want to relate. I like to comment on the issue of language as well, and then relate my experience with Zunar as well. I think language does matter. I think I'm with the National University of Malaysia, but I'm also with a local NGO, Aliran, based in Penang. So we do write small pieces, and we put it up on our website. And we have, I think 2 years ago, we have this discussion among the EXCO members that, hey, are we preaching to the converts? Because we are using English very much in our writings. And there is a need to reach out to the Malay voters. And although most of them, Mariam, are already urbanized, but a lot of them read Malay pieces rather than English pieces. So there is a need to actually use Malay language to reach out to these people. And if you go to the Borneo sides of the country, Sabah and also Sarawak, which the state I come from, 80% of the constituency are basically rural constituencies. And the indigenous population, basically, although they are racial, multi-ethnic, but in terms of the language that they master, they can speak Malay. So there is a need to use the Malay language to reach out to the Malay voters. Now, relating my experience with Zunar, I was with a public university in Sarawak. Now I moved to Kuala Lumpur. Unimas, yes. A colleague of mine, not me actually. So, but I was guilty by association. Invited Zunar to our university to talk to his students, and this is a public university. And my colleague, because he's a good friend of mine, and I'm guilty by association. So, I attended his lecture, Zunar's lecture at the public university, and there was an uproar in the social media and in the management of the university that they were thinking of taking action against Andrew, by the way he kirim salam, and also myself. So, but I think this is the thing that is happening in Malaysia in general, that people like you and people in the academics as well, people in the civil society are pushing the boundaries. I think the big question that we need to ask now is, the opposition are basically fragmented after 2013. I think that is a sad point for Malaysia. I think they have been doing well in the last two elections, 2008, 2013. For the first time, all opposition parties come to the center, where they are talking about issues of governance, democracy. Parti Islam se-Malaysia also are talking about good governance, negara kebajikan, a welfare state. But now they are going left, right, center, so on and so forth. So I think this is the question that we need to ask, and I think this is where the role of Zunar, civil society, is very important in pulling together all this, breaking up opposition parties to come together. And then,
if I may add, when Zaid Ibrahim translated his book into Malay, when Ishaq Manji, probably Zaid, I think, it was immediately banned because they know the effect on the Malay population.
True.
So we need to sample, kena ban or kena red, even in English.
Can I connect? Yeah, just onto it. But it didn't follow that Sarawak banned him. He's still not banned in Sarawak, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
I'm Sarawak.
I wanted to ask, to connect back to Ruben's earlier question. One, why do we, what change do we want? Okay. One is, why do we allow politicians to determine what we want? And two, if Zunar, if you're only focusing on what is wrong, how do people conceptualize the future? Mariam, you are also very critical of what is wrong, which is needed. But would there be merit in also, and probably even academics, we are always problematizing that. Would it be helpful if we can show what the future could be like? Happy to hear your views, Sam.
As a cartoonist, cartoonists cannot make people laugh if you draw a good thing. we have to be very theoretical. They say, why? No. Mine is to make a joke about the Prime Minister. We make joke, We cannot say, how are you, good morning, I'm fine. That's what? That's, we're going to have a good government. Nobody will laugh at that. That is why, for me, the role of, everybody have played a role. It's not the role of Zunar alone for change. It's not the role of Mariam alone. Everybody have to do their part. And we do together. And with 1,000 dimensions. It's not only one way to do it. It's a million ways. For me, I never criticize our opposition because they're doing the good. We are going through simulation for change, but they do their job. I don't say that, hey, why don't you draw? Why you speak? No, you go and speak. I draw. If I need to draw a bad thing, I draw a bad thing. And you talk about good thing. It doesn't matter about that. And academics talk about demographic, about this statistic. Cartoonists don't talk about statistics. They don't ask cartoonists to talk about statistics. People don't read cartoon because of statistics. Because of to say the policies or what. No, you don't have here. So what I mean is, we have to know the nature of our job and our responsibility. The nature. Don't expect everybody to do that all the time. Everybody has to do what you do. I don't read books like you people do. The academician, I don't read books. I don't write. Mariam write. I draw cartoon. If I say, Mariam, why don't you draw cartoon? Of course, they will never win the war like that. So that is why, for me, if you want to beat the enemy, I'm also besides I also study in chemist. I also have 2 weeks training as an army. Only 2 weeks. It's okay. but we learn some certain things in war. They're like, we better if you have 1 battalion. In 1 battalion, we got 1,000 army soldiers. Anybody up from army background here?
So you can say
Okay, it's 1 battalion, we get 1,000 soldiers. And it is easy. And then also we are facing enemy. Big enemy. It is easy to have 1,000 battalion with only 1 soldier each battalion, rather than 1 battalion with 1,000 soldiers. we have the infantry 1%, 1 battalion of infantry. I'm only one. I'm the general. I'm the corporal. Everything only one. And it become the mentions become very big. That is why they don't know how to focus. They don't know how to focus. This is what I want people to understand.
Can I throw a spanner in the works?
Just Mariam writing in English. Is then should we write good things rather than just
Good things, yes. Once in a while, yes. Because you've got to give people hope. Because without hope, we are nowhere. The other thing is, I have tried writing funny pieces, satirical pieces. In Malaysia, people don't understand satire. So they just say, what? You know, why are you doing it? Why are you overall? So it's hopeless. And the other thing is, with Malays, you can't criticize. If you criticize, they will say, jangan translated into English, don't criticize your own, it's bad. Don't what is it, wash your napkins in, wash your dirty linen in public, and all that. Yeah. And then the other thing, when Zunar mentioned about criticizing the opposition, why criticize the opposition? Let them get in, then you criticize the bad of them. Because right now, who holds the purse strings? Putrajaya. They control everything, even development in Lanka. So if we criticize the opposition, they are themselves, beholden to Putrajaya. They can't do anything. What's quite criticizing?
Yeah, we'll hold these thoughts around this conversation. I'm sure we'll come back to it at some point. Next question. Yeah.
Just a quick aside about Habibie. Yeah, I have a huge admiration for him, and he did many good things in the 18 months.
Oh yeah.
But he actually hugely increased corruption because he decentralized the government.
Decentralized
But
corruption.
by decentralizing government, we also have hope, because some of the people who are in local government, like our governor, is a very, very good news. Yeah. And how far are you lucky that they ban your work? I mean, I'm writing a book on corruption in Indonesia. If they banned that, it would be the best news for me, because it would sell like wildfire. I mean, if it's published, nobody's going to read it because it's an academic tome.
Yeah, what means that is, the act must come from the government. We're in Malaysia now. The government is the one who the most corrupt person is the Prime Minister. So there is no place to fight corruption. You mean to fight yourself. You cannot do that. Of course, the corruption will be there. No way you can say any country in the world can stop corruption. There is no way. But what I mean is, you have to have a good institution. Either this corruption is there or not, the good institution, the intention must be very, very clear. You know, finally we will never get it. But we have to do that.
Okay. Calvin?
There was someone down here.
So after you.
Okay, just two issues. First, to go back into criticism among the Malays. I mean, this notion of sindir menyindir, I mean, the indirection in Malay culture. And I think Hank Meyer's book on We Are Playing Relatives is a good example of how he locates cogent cultural criticism in Malay communities based on Hikayat Hang Tuah. But it's nonetheless meaningful and targeted, and the recipients understand what is being said, though it's not offered frontally or directly. So I would think that there is place and scope for satire or indirect forms of criticism, and I think we should be more hopeful that there is the cultural apparatus, perhaps submerged along, maybe not used, that will re-emerge again and people will catch on to it. And to echo that, I think it has been said that versions of your work in Malay would be very much needed to offer some form of change in mindsets. So that's one thing. The other thing is the notion of corruption. There is this notion that corruption is bad and we don't want to have anything to do with it. Sort of a broader and longer term historical perspective on this, I think, is provided by Robert Neil's book, N-E-I-L-D. It's entitled Public Corruption, subtitle being The Dark Side of Social Evolution. So he actually cites an example actually, even if you're in Oxford, of an English prime minister in the 1800s who rose to the position of prime minister and has openly recorded that he expected personal benefits. And this is way after the glorious revolution and things like that, yeah? So public corruption is in many senses an unsaid or undiscussed colonial legacy alongside the other things that we have inherited. And there needs to be a relook at the role corruption has played in social evolution, and in many senses what Robert Neal records of so-called the Western democracies and more developed countries or the developed nations in the 19th and 20th, early 20th centuries is actually being outplayed in Malaysia now, because the dark side is sort of coming into focus, and maybe we need to thank you for bringing our attention to that. So it's not, I'm not saying that Neil condones corruption or anything, it's just that he historicizes its role in sort of, as in a way, another informal institution in the polity. And I think that's something we all need to countenance, and we need to think about how we can get past it. So this is something for you to think about. Okay, and just a short one. Is there a cartoon coming in the future from you on Lee Guan Eng's housing discount? And I think that's as needed as your cartoons on Rasa Prosma and Najib.
First of all, you to understand Malay's mindset. I did one cartoon about that. Two panels. For them, babi is haram. But 2.6B halal. So for Malay community, corruption is not such a big issue. But if there are some pork, you eat pork, then maybe the biggest sin in the world. Last year, the company of the chocolate company, Cadbury nearly closed down because some people say that some people make a posting that there are pork DNA, pig DNA found in the chocolate. DNA, in Malaysia nobody know what DNA is, how it looks like. They only know DNA when after the Jurassic Park movie, only they know DNA. But you just need to say DNA is enough for the company to say, okay, nearly closed down and had to appoint the Mufti to be the board, advisory board. So that is why I think it's for them, because if corruption they don't really think it's a big issue for them, So that is why we need to overcome this, because of the religious things, all these things are all been, for them they are very confused. They really don't want to go when they the Mufti, Mariam has so many fight against Mufti. Because she doesn't wear you don't wear the cover, She definitely go to hell. Without trial, let her go. According to the Mufti. So what the Mufti need to do is just to quote one hadith from Prophet Muhammad. And nobody check if hadith is true or not. Nobody. You just say that. And it's enough to convey Malay Muslim to say, oh, this is against religion. We don't do that. And no hadith talk about corruption. No hadith. And no imam, no guru, no ulama or mention about corruption. No. Hudud. Those who steal in supermarket will be cut their hand. But no corruption. Corruption is okay because you don't steal it. So this thing all confuse Malay mind. That is why the challenge to change Malay is not about the language alone, but it's mindset. It was being taught when the first day in school, we have been taught like that. In this system. Okay, then I still have to. When come to the Lim Guan Eng things, first of all, is there any corruption by money there? In Malaysia, Malaysia is so sensitive about that. Half of Malaysians have to go to jail.
Then we should all be in jail.
Yeah. I mean, if somebody want to sell, to compare with There another case, Ketoyo. Ketoyo sell house at a cheaper price.
Yes.
One end sell house at bought house at a cheaper price. The same thing, but in Ketoyo with a condition that I sell to you with a condition you give a government contract. There's a clearly there. Whereas in one end case, we don't have any hard connection with them. If I say I want to sell my house at a cheap price, and the how do you prove that? That is why Lim Wan In house case is purely for Sarawak election. Believe you, after Sarawak election, nobody talk about it. You take my word. This is to create, because DAP is very strong in Sarawak. You know, by the time you should know this. DAP is very strong in Sarawak, and only DAP now. PKR not so strong. That's why they need to really, because this issue is not new issue. 5 years ago, the anti-corruption agency said no case. But now, how come now you cannot just repeat, say, we did investigation last time and we found nothing? Why anti-corruption agency keep quiet about this? That is why for me, okay lah, if you say Wan King is guilty and if he sent to, he deserves 5 years in jail, Najib and Rosmah has to be hanged forever. Hanged forever. If we want to compare that. That is why for me very important thing. There are concepts, even in Islam, that you have to, you need to prioritize the important thing first. The priority is important, you know. If you want to, you cannot think about priority, you don't know where we are going. The priority for me is billion. You take billion as the priority first. If you cannot arrest those who take billion, how do you talk about small corruption? You've got no moral to talk about. That is why, for me, I focus the one first. And when I talk about corruption, it's not about taking and giving a bribe. No, there's only one part of corruption in Malaysia. The other part is you have a power. Why don't you use to fight corruption? And who has that power? Federal government. Why don't you fight it? Why don't you strengthen everything? Why don't you say, I want to fight corruption? No. So, you have a power, you do that. If you do that, people will be very happy. First you arrest yourself, you arrest your wife, you arrest, and then you want to arrest, go ahead. No problem for me. So, for me, it's going to be like that. Okay.
Prioritizing. This lady.
Hi, I'm from Thailand, where you can go to jail for clicking like to a Facebook page with royal defamation. Anyway, my question is exactly on internet freedom, since you said you've been relying on internet to publish your work. And I did some research earlier in 2014, and it shows that there is a legal amendment in Malaysia which hold website owners liable for seditious comments posted by users. So I'm just interested, how long will they, will they keep you there? And also in 2014, former Prime Minister Dr. Mahathir Mohamad was giving a speech at an event held by a police training college, and he said, if I was appointed as a premier again, the first thing I would do is censor the internet. So how long do you think you still have with the internet as your platform to publish your work?
I know Cheranuk very well. She's my friend.
Oh,
We have been detained on the same day in 2010. She's at the airport. Okay. The internet, in Malaysia now, the battle is not about physical battle anymore. It's a digital one. More and more people now make a comment. Even now, the government officer also start to make a comment, open comment about the Prime Minister and the administration. And last year, they were mooting this idea. It's called the Evidence Act. The Evidence Act is the act that, like you said, it will cover those who post, those who comment, and those who like will be charged, will be liable under this law. But somehow it's never materialized. So it's still just an idea. There's no law yet. But recently, the police chief makes a comment that we need law, a new law to control the internet. I believe I heard rumors that rumors is more credible than news in Malaysia. I believe rumors more. that the government will introduce a new law to control the internet, and they will do what China does, to put the responsibility to internet provider to control your client. Then they will do that. They will do that, and and then they also will use Sedition Act on the comment. So I think, in order for the Prime Minister to survive, he will do that. He will definitely do that and to control. But Malaysia has one thing that the previous Prime Minister, Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, when he introduced Silicon Valley, now becomes Silly Valley. He has a signed agreement with Bill Gates that he will not to censor. But we don't know whether the agreement MOU or what.
That's expired.
And then, but again, the problem of the Prime Minister himself is very proud of his Twitter's followers. He also sometimes mentioned, I got 1 million followers. But how do you do that? How do you do that? That is the thing that my wife worked in the government. My wife worked in the government, and they are at one time there are some instruction came that in the office they are not allowed to use Twitter and Facebook. But next day the Prime Minister said, I got 1 million in Twitter. I said, then how come the Prime Minister use that? We cannot use. So it will become a conflict on his personal. But again, I believe that to survive, they have to do what Thailand do, they have to do what China do. They have to survive.
Before we move to the next question, anyone familiar with sort of the laws developing around the internet on Malaysia who could offer a view?
I think
Quick ones. Okay,
I was struck by some of the comments earlier, when we were comparing the kind of structures, institutions of accountability, in the West, in Malaysia. One of the things that, I observed is the current wave of repression came very closely, occurred at the same time as we were engaged in the TPP talks. And if we know the history of Western foreign policy, now if you can use the respecting sovereignty arguments for certain reasons, and then you can be very cynical about respecting sovereignty arguments in Iraq, Afghanistan, whatever, it doesn't matter. I mean, there's been an incredible quietude in the international scene about Najib's corruption. There's open support from the Obama administration. They even upgraded Malaysia's human trafficking ratings overnight so that they could sign the TPP, right? And then Cameron is also engaged, in dialogue, and they do the protocol thing of, I will meet with you and I raise human rights. What happened to Zunar? And they're like, all right, now sign the TPP. And then they've done the human rights thing, but really the driver, like what happened in Indonesia and everywhere, I'm talking about the international climate, there's also a good complicity going on, because I feel, because of the strategic role that Malaysia plays in TPP and now the moderate ally in war on terror, the Najib regime uses this as a way to sort of, we must have gotten a green light to go ahead with the current wave of repression without any international consequences.
Now, what you see that the foreign government is very simple. They're deeply concerned. All these are all dustbin, When you say they are also all, they have interest in their own interest, when they're dealing with countries. Don't expect US to charge Najib. Don't expect that. We don't expect. It's just wrong to expect to have any expectation on that. I can take one example of what happened to President Marcos. He he was backed by US all the time. Until the people powers come. When people powers came, then only the foreign government will say, oh, even your people also not supporting you. So we withdraw support. That's what we need to do. You know? If you ask Obama, Obama say, why should I have you? You don't have yourself. Nobody fight in Malaysia. You're happy with your government, why should I interfere? This is the thing we should understand. Again, for me, the people power is the one. We decide our own countries, our own country's fate. And others only can help. They don't change anything.
There is a lot of problem in the Southeast Asian region with China coming in. So I think America wants to have a foothold in the seas around there. We are all stirring for what it's slowly becoming fraught with tension. And I think the Americans will take on it because they want to be there. Another thing, when Malaysians come to London in 2013, I think it was the Panama Papers, whoever knows more about it, wasn't it 17% of Malaysians bought out all the property in London? Right, yeah, it's begging with a begging bowl, yeah, and yet you have Malaysians buying up and developing all these places in London. So, what's happening?
If I can ask another question on that. Earlier you had sort of held sort of Western democracies as a standard of that
expenses scandal.
How do you? Are we all the same? Malaysia, UK, Australia.
Same as they say in Malaysia. Because when the Saudis, was it, anybody who knows about the SFO, Serious Fraud Office, investigated Saudi Prince somebody, yeah, Bandar, for the arms scandal, Prime Minister shut it up. So yes, we are same thing.
No, I'd like to add on that. You know, don't talk about Western and Eastern in this internet era. You know, we are universal. We are a citizen of the world. So we have to take the value. Doesn't matter it's from West or from if the value is good for human rights, freedom of expression, we do. That's why UN say that United Nations Declaration of Human Rights. It's not about Western or what, you know. So what happened if you use personal money, 30,000 like in here, to buy things and people start to protest, it's good to follow that. So
thank you, Ryan. Next question. Anyone other than the existing group? The back row. I suppose. No? All good? Okay. Oh, Firdausi, yeah.
I'm from Sabah. So the one that associated with fixed deposit to Bali. Anyway, because when you talk about institutions, because my research is on institutions from Malaysia, so it's posited to be weak. It's weak because it was, what do you call that, because of the our previous leader. It is intended to be weak so that they can stay in power. Now the question is, this is always my question, if it's weak, it can strengthen the political elite power. And then also when it comes to economic growth, there's two ways of economic growth in Malaysia. One is to the economy. The other one is to finance back the political elite. Now, how do you want to topple the government? That is number one. They control the institution. Now the Prime Minister has the power to give contract GLC to people. The Prime Minister has strong support from Sabah and Sarawak. Very difficult to come down, very difficult to topple him. And then, of course, most of the UMNO warlords, it is castrated by him. Right? Now, how you want to bring him down? Number two, the opposition is somehow weak. It's not just weak, it's fragmented. Yeah, like we all Malaysians.
They don't have a coherent position.
Yeah.
That's the basic problem.
No, if you go to Egypt, have you been there to Egypt before?
No, I never been there.
In 2010, you ask this question, nobody believed Mubarak will be. They said, no way we can topple Mubarak. You know? But this is the thing we for me is of course when it comes to the how to do it in detail, I don't have an answer yet. But we need to believe in people's power and keep doing what we can. You know. We have to be very positive. You know, if the British ask this same question, the British did ask the same question 60 years ago. You are still not born yet, so you don't remember. I still remember. I remember. You know, 60 years ago. If I give you independence, can you manage the country? Look at this. And the Rahman said, yes, I can. That's why you got independent. If British said, I don't trust you, how do you do that? So if we are talking negative like this, we never fight. You know, England, football, which team is you? Which team you support?
Gotta get the answer right.
Yeah, which team you support?
Manchester United.
Okay. There are some Leicester City now, you know. Those teams who come to fight Manchester United already handicapped those days during Alex Ferguson era, because they have a mind that we cannot beat Manchester United. That is why they keep losing. If they say that we can beat, they can beat. So the psychology things that put in our mind now, we can look at how do you fight this person? We cannot fight if you think like that. But the question for us now is, for me, I want to fight that person. I want to beat, and when you have the intention, then how you going to do it? You do it. Come, everybody, like I said, now the problem why they are still in power now is because of the silence of the people. If tomorrow every Malaysian stand up and say no to Najib, tomorrow they will go. So this is our job now to make sure that come, have a stand and do your job. Have a stand and do your job. Whatever you do, I keep saying that, you know, you don't know what to do. Okay, you have internet. If you have internet, you can, you know, email forward to the people. This is what happened. This is what happened. Also a big, you know, if you don't have anything, you have a dog can bite you know, somebody's leg. So no problem, you can go away. These things that what I mean is we have to be very, very positive in change. You know.
But if I may add a but, you're saying that we're starting off on a false premise, aren't we? For elections, you're assuming that elections are fair and clean, which they're not really having. And then you had Project IC, which has messed everything up. So you're not. We're not having Sabahans, but we're having foreigners who have been given the papers, the right to live there, provided they vote for BM. Then you have, like Sarawak, fragmentation. The Ibans themselves. I mean, now we have Sarawak elections, but where are they? They are so divided. If they are not divided, how can we depend on them to help the rest of the nation? Okay. And now they're talking about autonomy.
One last one. When before 2008, people asked that question, you know, how do you win 5 states? You cannot win. But in 2008 election, they proved that it's a win.
Can I just jump in into this discussion? I think this question had been raised over a few years, and I think the turning point, because last year the government introduced GST, goods and sales tax, for the first time, and the first tax, you know, it started at 6%, and that's quite high, and the Sarawak election will be the first election to be held after the introduction of GST. And interestingly, I've been going around Sarawak for quite some time, and even in the rural areas, so much in the rural areas, people are heavily affected by GST. And despite the popularity of the chief ministers, you know, Adnan Satem, his last rating, this was done by the local pollster, Merdeka Center. They did the poll January this year. The chief minister rating was at 81%, from 74% in April last year. And when we asked, because you know, we did the survey together, and when we asked follow-up questions, who are you going to vote for in the next elections? The ground is not moving that much. In the last 2011 election, 55% voted for Barisan Nasional, the ruling party. In the survey that we done in January this year, about 55% said that they're going to vote for Barisan Nasional in the coming elections. So there's not much movement on the ground because of this lingering problem, the Sarawak elite capture, corruption, so on and so forth, and also GST.
But I believe that Sarawak, compared to 10 years ago, is a big, huge improvement.
Oh yes, of course.
This is what we're talking about.
Yes, yes. In 2001, the popular vote of the ruling party in Sarawak was, this is fixed deposit state, at 71%. And it went down to 55% in 2011.
That's what I mean, if it keep moving, it will increase.
I think the key for Malaysia is if the opposition can come back together, come back to, in terms of the narrative that they are selling to the voters, the centrist messages, issue of democracy, good governance, inclusivity. I think that's a winning formula because the
fact that they banned so many
opposition leaders.
More than Taib, I think. More than Taib did.
Correct.
Now.
Yeah.
They mean show how scared and they really have their number too.
But if you look, Adinan has been giving them all sorts of positives. NCR land, the land grant was abolished for the natives. Then you have the highway
land tax,
yeah. So people are happy, no need to pay tax. Then you have the highway toll, then you have the electricity.
The toll is very insignificant.
Yeah.
Only one toll, only one bridge in Sarawak.
But people use it to convince your twine.
Can I? I'd like to ask a broader question to Zunar especially. Mariam, feel free to chip in. There looks like globally, the 99% movement in the US, the kind of impoverishment that is happening in the UK, food banks and so forth. Look at continental Europe, sort of this new forms of politics on both sort of progressive but also sort of right wing and but also in the region, Southeast Asia, there is sort of a reversal of democratic gains. Look what has happened in Thailand. Look what's happening in Indonesia. Jokowi was supposed to be the popular guy, but looks like it's reversing. So in this kind of global conditions where where every country seems to be facing internal problems of in very serious terms, and then you have ISIL extending its reach. How concerned? Two questions: are you linking up with like-minded people across the region? But also, how interested would anyone be in the kind of work you do when the scope of terrible things are happening in other parts of the world? Malaysia is minuscule compared to what these other terrible things are happening.
I think now Malaysia has become famous. Yeah. It was started when MH370 last year become really famous. Now also the Prime Minister, the issues. And what I of course compared to other countries, we are not as bad. This is in other country perspective. They say, every say that you are very good country, you are very beautiful country, democratic economy very good, you are the highest building in the world. Everyone will say that. This is my job, this is our job to make the there's two things here. One is our fault because we don't fight. We don't put up good fight. It's not good enough to capture the imagination or the eyes of international community. As an example, very simple. Whenever they do a survey about media freedom, Malaysia always in a good place. Why? The question is, You know, seldom, nobody get a question from the organization like RSF to fill up the form for this year. How many journalists been in jail? They say no. They say okay, no. Okay, good point already. How many been killed? No. This is why the reason is good. Why we don't fight? The journalists don't fight. We don't put up a fight enough. That's why people don't really say, oh no, it's okay. You are happy with your country. Your journalists also very happy with the law. That's why we don't fight. That's why your rating is good. That is why for me, I now then when I come to say that okay, now I'm facing as a cartoonist, I'm facing 43 years. People say, what? In Malaysia? You know, I went to Indonesia. When I spoke to the cartoonist association, people say, wow. The cartoonists say that one of my biggest ambition is to go to KLCC, Petronas Twin Towers. That's one of the most important thing, and you want to stay at the top of it and take photo. They look up. But when I presented my case, they say, what? Is it Malaysia? Malaysia is the one, the country to have the tallest building in the world, detained cartoonists. That is why we need to play our part. I am playing this. I have an exhibition in London, British Cartoon Museum. I have an exhibition now in Melbourne to show that this is Malaysia. This is what happened in Malaysia, you know. So we really need to change the perspective of international community that we have a big problem in Malaysia. This is this, you know. We can only do that if you do a good fighting enough. If you don't do enough fighting, there is nothing. You know, you go to lock up 2 days. And I spoke with Myanmar in UN. Well, he's 3 years in prison. Nothing for them. We want to talk about what, you know, so we have to get that only we can get a capture. And I wanted to add out something that, you know, what we don't compare Malaysia with other countries. In terms of election, in terms of opposition, good or not, we are uncomparable. Because what election in Malaysia is not about losing or winning election. No, you don't talk about opposition good or, no, it's not about that issue. Our issue is to change a regime. It's not the government, this is not a government, it's a regime, you know. So you don't talk theory so much. The regime must go. Don't ask about opposition is good or not. I make one comparison. There are 2 ships, you know. If I can draw, I don't have anything here. We are living in 2 ships. 2 ships. One ship is a very big ship. One is a very, you know, which opposition ship. They have everything, you know. But this big ship is sinking. Sinking. Then the people on the other ship say, hey, come and join us. Then those who in the big ship may ask questions, is your ship is good enough? Good or not? Don't ask questions, you are sinking now, you come lah. You know, I mean, don't ask questions. This ship is sinking. So this is why we got no choice. We are not about choice, it's not about how good other things. It's to change a regime. What they did in Egypt now, people say, oh, now also very bad in Egypt. Yes, but you already changed a regime. And you have say of your own now. You know, this is what I'm talking about. For me, I feel really how good. It's a monkey want to rule Malaysia now. I say I want to monkey. No, serious. I say monkey also no problem. I say you are don't know how to corrupt. You know, you only banana.
Okay. And can we let this before Professor? Yeah, go ahead.
Can I ask you just a hypothetical question? I don't know how well you know Lat. I used to admire his cartoon until
what do you mean by use?
Well, he goes into business now, so I'm not. Yeah, if you have an opportunity to be reincarnated, to be born again, would you be Lat or you still choose to be Zunar?
Yeah. You know, Lat is my good friend. I also used to be. Because when we, last time we had worked together, and like this, you know, I let me tell the difference between he and Lat. not as a cartoonist. A cartoonist I cannot comment this,
Okay.
but as as a reader of this cartoon, his style is he's like to become a spectator, to comment. He used to say to me that if I watch a football from both sides, and he will just record it. But for me, I say if I watch football, if the referee bias, I will go down and punch the referee. That is the thing. That's the difference, you know. So for me, it's always to take a stand. For him, that is why he avoid to take a stand. He avoid to say this is his style, you know. This is his style. That's why some people say no, used to, you know. Those days, yes. So for me, artists, cartoonists should be closer to the people and should carry the people's voice in their words. This is what I believe, and I'm happy to be me because life is quite fat. Okay,
Thank you very much.
Professor? Yes, you mentioned we are not comparing other countries, but let me make slightly comparative elements. First, the query was raised, why is Obama not making issue out of Najib's and others? There is one former United States Vice President, Al Gore, who gave a speech, and I was watching it in Australia. They showed Mahathir's face, the camera pan and showed Mahathir. The brave people of Malaysia right here, right now. And there were
it was 1998.
1998,
Yeah, I
yeah.
remember that, yeah.
So what happened to Al Gore? I mean, among the things, they were Rafida Aziz was saying.
Yeah.
So she put away and said, maybe I want to meet Kenneth Starr, who was trying to prosecute Clinton in that regard. So I think probably I don't know whether Obama learned the lesson from Al Gore. That's one point. Even though you said no comparison, you did mention Marcos. You did mention Marcos. I don't know offhand. I am incompetent or I don't know whether who is more corrupt, Marcos or Najib. I don't know.
The wife definitely Najib win. Najib wife is more corrupt than Milda.
Okay. Okay. But the situation is different. The situation is different. You know, the Filipino people take 2.8 days to topple Marcos. The Burmese people give more than 3,000, 10,000 in August and September 1988 alone. People died, and I want to cry when one of my Filipino classmates asked me, did anybody die during the Burmese uprising in 1988? Then Filipino people achieved in 2.8 days. The Burmese took 28 years. And the Filipino army in 1986 is less powerful than the current Burmese army in 2016. So there are differences within the country, and I don't know what to say. In Malaysia, I'm sorry for my prediction, I hope I'm wrong. In my prediction in the past is if the coalition has come, no, not the coalition, the opposition coalition has come to power, they would have been toppled within 3 months, either constitutionally or unconstitutional. The next election, 2018, I don't know. They may still get the plurality of the votes like 2000, but I don't think you mentioned gerrymandering is such that I don't think they can come into power. I hope I'm wrong. And I don't know how to get out, I would not say rut, how to get out of this route. And I appreciate your point. And you yourself mentioned about the Islamization and the narrow-mindedness of especially the rural Malays. So I don't know how, and the Sabah and Sarawak fixed about it. These are some of the, almost to me, insurmountable problems in the regard. Can I get the statistics that there are only 30% urban Malays? I am a bit skeptical of that.
That's easily available.
Yeah.
Happy to get that to you.
I want to comment. Why you keep asking? Why I keep saying, but after 3 months we will be toppled? How do you get to it?
Because they are already split. I mean, the opposition is
They're
already
not in
split.
power. They're not in power. I mean, Mahathir, current government also split very big. But if they have power, nobody can topple them. I mean, if you compare that is why for me to compare those because we never have change of government.
Sure.
That is why you can say, oh, the opposition, yes, you have got no power yet. How do you cannot imagine that. Okay, that's it.
The message we have to pass to the people is that put the opposition in fairly, that if they're no good after 5 years, kick them out. By that time, UMNO will probably have had a sea change,
But pigs can fly?
Well,
I'm asking for DAP and PAS. How are they reconciling
so maybe I could just jump in here just to give you a glimmer of hope, since this is something you're talking about. So Rand Herschel, who does work in political science and comparative constitutionalism, one of the things that he raises as interesting is that when there's regime change, the regime that's ousted will suddenly become interested in strengthening institutional controls, because they in fact become interested in checks and balances to protect themselves. So you might ironically find yourself in a situation where UMNO officials who are now out of power suddenly want to have an independent judiciary so they get a fair shake, just in case people come after them. But I agree with you. I think that the obstacles are fairly insurmountable. You have to have hope. And that's my question here. In listening to you talk, I can't help but to think of Ai Weiwei, the Chinese artist. And I wonder whether the use of humor is appropriate to talk about very serious problems. And if a downside of humor means people can just laugh at those problems and not actually get angry in the way that you like. Whereas you look at Ai Weiwei's art, there is a bite, there is aggression, very explicit aggression. I don't know how you answer that. I'm certainly drawn to your work.
In my cartoon, I have 4 elements. 4 elements. I take at least 10 hours a day to compose the element alone before I pick up a pen. Those who read my cartoon, they will understand that. First, I will get information. Second, stand. And the third is direction. After I got this, only I think about joke. But the joke cannot compromise these 3 things. It must be there. So the joke is just appetizer for people to read this. The more you go to read, you can get the message, you can get the direction, you can get the stand very clearly. So I don't want to put it too blunt to the people. Some people they may I don't want to see this too hard. Just Malaysian way like that. You have to understand what people find. That's why now I got many feedback that people say that they look at the ring, they look at the Twitter thing. So that's appetizer for them, you know. And once I forgot to draw a ring, people make noise, you know, what happened to you? Somebody hacked your website or what, you know. People want to see this is first. After that, they will go to the main things. I got a fan, hardcore fan, 15 years old. Yeah, he met me last year, end of last year, and he showed us the collection of my book. I asked him, he came to his father, I asked, do you understand this? He said, he understands some, the small thing, you know. But it's good enough appetizer for him later on to go deep. So doesn't matter you go deep. So I want to cater those who want to like joke, also you can read here. You want to get the message, also come here. That's the thing what I'm talking about. So I try to create more dimension in my cartoon that I can get more people to attract to it. Compared to previously, previously I just only one object here, and the response is not very good. Some people scared to be associated with it. So now I can get that, you know, sometimes my post I can get about 500 shares or 10,000 shares. It's common. So because people feel okay lah to laugh, you know. People say that laugh is okay, laughter is okay. Because it's the safest way for them. But if I show like Ai Weiwei, it's very strong message, nobody will associate it. Very few, only activists will do that. It's not the public. This is my intention.
Can I take you on that? And if you can like explain, especially the direction part, so that we can like,
yeah,
you know, how
this is about scripted thing.
Okay.
You know, it's all about in Malaysia, yeah. Especially in Anwar case, the judgment was written before it. Then the process came later. You know, okay, the judgment first, okay, to send Anwar 5 years in order to prevent him from taking part in next general election. That's the thing. So now, AG, the Prime Minister will say, AG, go and find a way how do you do this, and find the judge. You know, so you're guilty first, and the judge will play act. Okay, you know, we are very concerned. Come to decision. This is the decision. So this is what I'm talking. That's why I was very, very clear that the Prime Minister on the charge here. Because he is the one who controls it. If you go to Anwar trial, you say, what is this judge talking about? I said, first year law student can do better judgment than Chief Justice. This is very, very clear. But the decision is already set. They already have decision and they make sure it happens. This is what we're talking about, you know. This is what we're talking about the system, this is what we're talking about. And so I show in my cartoon, I show this is what happened. You agree or not? This is my point. And this is happening. And this is now going to, you know, this cartoon is going to be exhibited in Geneva next month. It was chosen, this one, at the near lake in Geneva. Because people think, this is really, but you need to really put it in the visual thing to show that this is it. But of course, this is 16 February 2015, before I introduce the small character. Because it's not here yet. The chief tweet also is not in the part yet, and then the things are not yet. So that's why it looks quite bland, you know. If I do it yesterday or this day, there are so many people here. The ring will be here, you know. The judge may be wearing the hammer will be look like a ring. You know? Thank you.
The professor was saying the general elections in 2018. Were you very good?
Yeah. I'm not, of course, I don't see the glass thing. If the previous trend is reported, my guess, my wild guess, it's not an expert prediction, is that the government will win again.
Oh yes, because
that's what
if there was some cheating there in the past, there will be massive, probably 100% cheating. Or we won't even have an election. The way things are going. The other thing, if I may add, you mentioned Manila and somebody else mentioned Egypt. I want to put a spanner in the works. I look at Iran because it's not just corruption of money, it's also a corruption of religion. I do not want Malaysia to be like Iran.
I would like to put a gerrymandering thing. Okay, go to football again. Okay. Malaysia versus Thailand. Football, Asian game. Malaysia versus Thailand. And the referee is cheating. We know that. He's biased for Malaysia. Do you think Malaysia can win or not?
I don't think so.
Not with that team. No, you get 3 penalties. No, you get 4 penalties. 4 penalties. Can win lah, have a hope. Make it simple, can win lah because they are about the same rank. Malaysia versus Myanmar lah, very easy. Okay. Then the referee is biased in favor of Malaysia. We can win. Okay. So for some reason, Malaysia managed to be in final of World Cup. For some reason, I don't know how they do it, but finally, Malaysia versus Brazil, and the referee is on Malaysian favor. You think we can win or not? Definitely cannot win. You know, we give 10 penalty, it's going Brazil will Myanmar will score 20-10. You know. So my point is like this: gerrymandering only works when we have a minimal difference, you know. Like previously, we have 47-52. If we got 60%, there is no gerrymandering will work. That is why our job now to get more and more people. It's about numbers, you know. It's about numbers. They will never do anything because one part of the gerrymandering is like this, you know. You have your parliament. Let's say Johor Bahru got 70,000 voters, and they win with 20,000 majority. So this is a bang already. So some people in Melaka say, can I have 10,000 of yours? Okay, they can simply change it to more. Let's say, you know, they simply put it. Okay, you will be 10,000. But when they become 60%, everybody won. Hey, no, you cannot. I also not safe now. I cannot give it to you. You have to find your own. And you go to Melaka, say, can I have one? No. We also very critical now. That's why it won't work. That's why we really need to, you know, to make sure we got numbers.
Talking about numbers, there are loads of Malaysian professionals, middle-aged, who don't even have a voting, what we call it, voting card.
Registered.
Yeah, registered. They're not registered. Of course BN's going to win. Because those votes will be used by
one of the job to make sure that they vote.
Yeah.
They register. Yeah, I think they do. Bersih is doing very good in that. We have to have Bersih.
One last question. Yep.
Yes, my name is Peter Micklethwaite, and I'm a friend of the Cartoon Museum in London, which I think you've just mentioned. What is it, apart from showing exhibitions of your work, is there anything else that foreign organisations can do to help you in your situation?
The organization?
I don't get the feeling you're going to go to jail for 43 years. But you may be censored on YouTube. So what help can, apart from showing exhibitions, can foreign organisations do for you?
Yeah, and the trial will be the court tomorrow. Yeah? The court will give a date for my trial. I think that what I need from the organization is to at least to make a statement of solidarity when the court gives a date, and prior to the 1 or 2 days before the trial, maybe can come up with a statement that we are, we are being with Zunar or urge the government to drop the charge against me.
It's bad publicity for Malaysia.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what he doesn't like.
Yeah.
And the more we spread and highlight about the abuses, because he thrives on image.
But the Cartoon Museum in London has a very low profile. I don't know about the exhibition in Geneva.
But generally talking to other people, academics, normal people, ordinary
Martin
people.
Rosen is the one who really...
he's a good guy.
Yeah, he's already support me all the way. I mean, he's trying to... He's the one who arranged my exhibition in British Museum. So this is why I say the cartoonists can... I don't want to... for me, if they can come up with a statement, so that when I got the support from international community, especially the cartoonist group is very, very important to say that this is unfair and we urge the government to drop the case. So far there's 2 cartoonist organizations in the world, Cartoonist Right Network International based in DC, and also Cartoonists for Peace, Paris based.
Well, if Martin Rosen was helping you, he'll do what he can in this country. So I said, if Martin Rosen is helping you, he will do the best that anyone can.
I'm really think he's really, the one who really made me known among Catholics and also other people in UK. So that's good. It's very good.
We need to bring this fantastic, very inspiring session to an end. Can we all put our hands together to thank Zunar and Mariam?